Joining us now is Congresswoman Norma Torres, Democrat from California, who, as Gabe talked about, was one of among the more than a dozen members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus which toured that border facility. Congresswoman, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Hallie, for having me on your show.
Of course. Can you describe what you saw and your reaction to it?
It was appalling what we saw there at the CBP offices, detention centers where these children and migrants were being detained. The facilities look no different than they were 8 months ago when I visited the specific place, where children are being held in jail cells that are freezing in temperature with absolutely no furniture inside, sitting on the floor with nothing but a blanket to keep them warm. Children being held in groups of 10, 15 kids. One child specifically came to the window where we were standing right outside the door. And, you know, he was tapping and calling out, "Papa, Papa." And that's just simply heartbreaking that we would allow, that this country would tolerate these facilities to continue to operate in the way that they have been operating, violating basic human rights for children and people seeking asylum.
We played a little bit of Congressman Castro there, who said one migrant talked about drinking out of toilets. Is that true? Did you see migrants drinking out of toilets? CBP says they have ample supplies. What's the reality?
When we walked through the facility, our cell phones were not allowed. We were not permitted to bring our cell phones inside, so we were not able to document what we were seeing. However, if not for pushing our way and insisting on having border agents open up one of the cells and actually stepping inside and talking to the women that were being held, that's how my colleagues discovered. And through those conversations with those women, this information about them being told to drink water out of the toilet bowl because the faucet, the sink was not in working condition. The only running water in the cell was coming out of that toilet. Now, we also saw a supply room that was fully stocked with basic necessities, toothbrushes, soap, and the like. But what good is it to have a supply room, a fully stocked supply room, when those supplies are not getting to the people that need it? And let me ask the country, how is a 2-year-old supposed to ask for soap and water?
We should note, too, although you guys, the members of the caucus, were not allowed to bring phones in, there has been some video that has come out, obviously shot on a cell phone from Congressman Castro's account, I believe, that we've been showing while you're talking. I just want to note that for our viewers. And I also want to ask you about this ProPublica report that talks about this private Facebook group, as Gabe Gutierrez explained, mocking migrant deaths, making crude and sexist jokes about your colleagues, members of Congress. One member, quote, encouraged Border Patrol agents to hurl a burrito at these bees. Another, and I'm not saying the word, another, apparently a patrol supervisor, wrote, quote, "F the hose. There should be no photo ops for these scum buckets," was written by a third member. Your reaction to that, and do you believe that that is simply the work of a few bad apples?
No, this is the work of the majority of these employees that have been allowed through these horrific Trump policies to operate in a way where they have stripped all humanity, not only from the children, but the moms and dads that are presenting themselves and asking for their help. That is something that I think is outrageous, and the entire country should be outraged. The fact that these over 9,000 employees, with some retirees in the group, felt comfortable enough to speak about members of Congress, to speak about a dead body of a 30-year or of a young man with his 23-month-old daughter. The way in which they express themselves is conduct unbecoming of these officers, conduct unbecoming of any law enforcement officer, and we should remove these people from their duty. Now, how they behaved how they behaved and how they treated members of Congress while we were in there in the presence of the leaders of CBP is a telling story. It was chilling to me to see how officers were taking selfies, utilizing us as a background prop. This is what they think of members of Congress. Imagine what they think of a 2-year-old with a soiled diaper.